Going on, everybody? It's Key Time coming back to give you my reactions from week 4 of the college football season. There were four intriguing games, I might add you, that went down to the wire. Well, 3 of them went down to the wire, and one was a total blowout. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But the first game I want to talk about is the Illinois Fighting Alumni and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Now, in this game, I honestly thought that Nebraska was going to take over this game just because that I said that Illinois' defense had trouble stopping teams in the third and fourth quarter. So now we see with Dylan Raiola, he had an okay game. He had one interception that proved costly in the game, and also Luke Almater, he was 21 or 27, 215 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. But where this game took a turn for the worse for the Nebraska Cornhuskers is on that turnover and plus third down, because they couldn't get any type of separation on third down. When you see their stats, they were 8 of 15 on third down. They went for it on fourth down, which proves that was the last play of the game. They didn't get the last play, but Nebraska gave up 4 sacks, and those sacks proved costly because all of those sacks came on third down. Now with Illinois, there was a lot of back-breaking moments that went their way. Now, the first instance was the touchdown that Nebraska threw, but it proved to be an interception because it was first down and 10 at the 33. Dylan Raiola threw it to his wide receiver. I thought it was a touchdown, but it came down to the ground at the end of the play. Illinois' guy came up with the interception, which it was an amazing play, but that was the interception that Dylan Raiola threw, and it seemed like after that, everything just took a turn for the worse. And then you had Nebraska committing a lot of unnecessary penalties. There was 4 occasions on third down where Nebraska got Illinois off the field, but you get a stupid penalty here, you get an unnecessary roughness penalty here, you get an illegal substitution penalty here, you get an unnecessary roughness penalty here, and you keep Illinois on the field, and they went and got a touchdown on that drive. It was just penalties kept Illinois on the field when it didn't need to. So we all know that Nebraska has dropped out of the top 25 after this loss. Illinois has risen up in the rankings, but do I think that Illinois will get very far? I don't think so. Even if they do make it to the college football playoff, they don't stand a chance because you are going to be facing top-notch competition in the college football playoff, and Illinois is just one of those teams that cannot withstand any type of team that is above them. Now, Nebraska, they are on the same level as them. But if Illinois tries to play Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Miami, Penn State, they are going to lose all of those games to all of those teams that I just mentioned if they have a chance at making the college football playoff. Even if they do make it, I don't see them getting very far. And that's all I have for the Illinois-Nebraska game. The next game I want to talk about is the Tennessee Volunteers and Oklahoma Sooners. Now, this was the game of all games when it comes to week 4. I actually thought that this was going to be a knockout, drag out fight. I actually thought it was going to be a shootout. But you saw what happened with Tennessee. Tennessee just straight manhandled Oklahoma. Oklahoma couldn't do nothing. Jackson Arnold, 7 of 16 for 54 yards and an interception. He couldn't do nothing. He couldn't do nothing. And even as far as the Oklahoma defense, they tried their best to keep Oklahoma in the game, but it really wasn't. It was nothing doing. They had nothing doing on offense, and they obviously had nothing on defense. Now, the Tennessee Volunteers quarterback Nico Emiliava, he didn't have such a good game. He was 13 of 21, 194 yards and 1 touchdown. But when it comes to that Tennessee defense, Tennessee, they have one of the best defense in all of college football. As of right now, like I said, the opponents that they have played before Oklahoma is suspect. But let's see how they fare when they play Georgia and Alabama. Now, this was a test that they went into Oklahoma and they won. But Oklahoma on the offensive side of the ball, they really didn't do much. I mean, when you see it on as far as rushing, they only had 36 yards of rushing in the run game. And also, when it comes to, they had to switch Jackson Arnold out for Michael Hawkins Jr. And Michael Hawkins Jr., he led a touchdown drive afterwards. It seemed like that maybe Oklahoma, they needed to put Michael Hawkins Jr. in the second quarter. Maybe they would have had a chance. But Tennessee is on a whole different level. I am going to tell you, I'm not going to get into what the Tennessee defense has done because they played suspect teams. They played Kent State. Let's see. They played Chattanooga, and then they played another bottom five, a bottom five ranked school, one of them lower ranked schools, I'm gonna say, and they won versus them. So Oklahoma was really a early season test, and they passed it with flying colors. I mean, when you look at the defense for Tennessee, they had 2 fumbles. Oklahoma, they fumbled the ball 4 times, lost. They fumbled the ball 4 times, recovered it twice, and the other 2 fumbles, Tennessee got them. Also, when it comes to solo tackles, Tennessee had 57 solo tackles. Oklahoma had 80 team solo tackles, but by the time the fourth quarter came, this was already in the books. Tennessee is going to be a problem for everybody. Like I said in my reaction video, everybody watch out for Tennessee because they are a problem now. But let's just see how much of a problem they are going to be when they face, if they get a chance to face Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Miami, and who knows, they may even get a chance to face a team like Penn State. That all depends on how all the teams fall in the college football playoff, because it's a 12-team playoff. A bunch of teams is getting into the college football playoff this year, and I believe Tennessee is one of them. But do I think Tennessee is going to go to the national championship game? No, because there are too many more other teams and better teams than Tennessee that's in their way. You got Texas, you got Georgia, you got Oregon, you got Alabama, you even got Miami, which has come way up from where they were last season. So you have those 5-6 teams that I just mentioned. So congratulations, Tennessee. Hopefully you are able to keep this momentum going, because you are going to need it when you play those upper echelon teams like Georgia, and Alabama. You're going to need that later on in the season. The next game I want to talk about is one of the games that was on the docket for at the top of the docket for college football week 4. USC Trojans versus Michigan Wolverines. Now, this game right here, I picked USC to win this game because I thought that when it comes to the offense, USC had the better offense, which they did. Obviously, Michigan had the better defense. Now, there are sequences in this game, and there were multiple moments in this game where I knew that the momentum had shifted towards Michigan because in the first quarter, USC, they couldn't get anything. And the total yards that USC got that USC had in the first quarter, they had under 100 yards. To be exact, it was only 78 because it was just punt, 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 punt. They punted about 4 times in the first quarter. At the end of the first half, they had a field goal drive. That was their best drive in the first quarter. Now, what really took this game on its head and turned it around for USC, I initially thought that was gonna win, was in the third quarter when USC went up by 2. Well, didn't go up by 2 scores, but they gained the lead in the third quarter. Now the fourth quarter, where USC lost this game was tackling. It really was. And I even have a stat. I was looking at a stat somewhere right after the game that said that the USC Trojans had 18 missed tackles in the game. And the missed tackle that the cornerback for the USC Trojans didn't make was really the one that really lost them the game because it's third down. It's 3rd and 3. So 3rd and 3 for Michigan. If they don't get it, you know that they're going for it on 4th down. So it was just a peel back run option where basically it was a read option where the quarterback could have ran or the running back could have ran. So the quarterback gives the ball to the running back, and it looks like it, and he got the first down, but I thought somebody had tackled him. But the guy missed the tackle, and here it is, 65 yards later, he down to the 12-yard line. And I knew that's where the Michigan Wolverines would win this game. That's why I say, now, when it comes to USC, I get it. Last season, your defense was terrible. This season, you haven't given up 30 points in a game yet. But the missed tackling is what hurt you in this game. 18 missed tackles. Now, if you only have about maybe 4 or 5 missed tackles, you win this game. And I got to give credit where credit is due because I didn't think Michigan was going to win this game, even though they was at home. Now, another thing, when it comes to the quarterback for Michigan, Alex Orji, 7 of 12, 32 yards. He really didn't have a good game. He had a terrible game. But when you have over 265 yards of yards on the ground, you don't need to throw the ball but 12 times. And that is exactly what Michigan did. Michigan, they made this game ugly. They kept it close. It was close throughout the game. So Michigan kept it ugly, and that is where Michigan won this game at because they kept it ugly, and Michigan upset USC. This was one of the biggest upsets of college football in week 4. Now, as far as Miller Moss, 28 of 51, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. As far as the run game for USC, they got to improve on their run game because that was a glaring problem that I saw in Saturday's game. So USC, you got a good quarterback. But you have got to improve your run game because you are going to need the run game later on in the season when we get to November and December. And if you lucky, if you get into the college football playoff, you are going to need your run game because even though this is a cliche, it is true. A quarterback's best friend is the run game because you can take the run game on the road and have control of the game. No matter how hostile the environment is, if you have a dominant run game, you have control of the game. So that's all I have for USC and Michigan. The next game I want to talk about is the Utah Utes and Oklahoma State Cowboys. Now, this game right here, I was expecting a shootout in this game, but it was much closer than I expected. But I did pick Utah to win this game. Now, as far as for the Oklahoma State defense, I thought that the Oklahoma State defense would have a tough time with the Utah Utes offense, and they did have a tough time with the offense. Now, coming into this game, I said the Oklahoma State Cowboys defense gives up 35 points a game. Well, the defense, in all essence, even though that Utah didn't have their quarterback Cam Rising, kept it close. But Oklahoma State defense could not get off the field on third down. I mean, when you look and see the stats for this game, you can see that as far as third down efficiency, both teams were pretty much garbage on third down. But they made one more first down. Utah Utes made one more first down than the Oklahoma State Cowboys did. But 5 of 18, that was pretty much like god awful. But what helped out the Utah Utes was fourth down efficiency. They went for it 5 times, got 4 4-down conversions. So that is what helped the Utah Utes in this game. And as I can say, as far as Oklahoma State, goodness, as far as their quarterback concerned, what was that? I mean, what was that? I mean, there was no enthusiasm when it comes to Oklahoma State's quarterback. Garrett Rangel, 3 of 11, 31 yards. I mean, you just put him in. You had him in at the start of the game. You knew that he wasn't going to do nothing. And then you put Alan Bowman in, and he gave you something, and he almost won the game for you. So coming into the next game this weekend coming up, what you should do is you should start Alec Bowman. If I'm the Oklahoma State head coach, Mike Gundy, I'm starting Alan Bowman because he gives me a better chance at winning than Garrett Rangel does. And also, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Backup quarterback for the Utah Utes, Isaac Wilson, little brother of Zach Wilson. He came in, did what he had to do, 17 of 29, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He's got to do better on those interceptions, but he was just in as a backup for the injured Cam Rising. So when it comes to, and even as far as turnovers, I'm turnovers concerned. Utah had more turnovers in this game and they still won. Now that looks bad on the Oklahoma State Cowboys offense. Utah had 3 turnovers. When you have 3 turnovers in a game, you are supposed to lose outright. Unless if your opponent has a tough time putting the ball in the end zone, which the Oklahoma State Cowboys did. So Oklahoma State, I know that you gonna drop in the rankings. Utah, you probably are in the top 10 right now. Oklahoma State, you have a lot more things to worry about than just a quarterback situation. You still have to get your defense. You still have to improve your defense because you gave up over 400 yards of total offense when it comes to the Utah Utes. And the Utah Utes had their backup quarterback in there, Isaac Wilson. 456 yards of total offense that the Utah Utes generated to the Oklahoma State Cowboys 237 yards of total offense. This was just an embarrassment by the Oklahoma State Cowboys. The Oklahoma State Cowboys ain't going anywhere when it comes to this type of defense. Giving up 35 points per game. I mean, really, before you played Utah, you were in nothing but shootouts. So I didn't expect much from your defense coming into the season, but I certainly don't expect much from your defense finishing out the season. You'll be lucky if you even make it to the college football playoff, which Oklahoma State, you're not going to make it to the college football playoff because there are a lot of better teams that have better defenses than you Oklahoma State Cowboys. So congratulations to Utah, to the Utah Utes, rallying the troops, rallying behind Isaac Wilson, and going into a hostile environment and getting a road win. And with that, those are my reactions from the week that was college football, week 4 of the 2024 season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. Also follow Key City Sports on TikTok. And one last thing, remember, the key is always on time.